What would you do if someone handed you a sealed envelope with your final instructions from their deathbed? And what if that envelope contained a secret so powerful it could rewrite someone's entire life story? Most of us will never face such a moment. But for one immigrant housekeeper, this became her reality, and the beginning of an extraordinary journey that would challenge everything we think we know about family, loyalty, and the invisible bonds that connect us. We're often told that blood is thicker than water, but what happens when the people who should care the most are counting inheritance while the person who actually cares is the one we'd normally overlook? This true story turns conventional wisdom on its head and reveals a shocking truth. Sometimes the most faithful hearts beat beneath domestic workers' uniforms, not family trees. I'm about to share an emotional story that will make you rethink every assumption you've ever made about wealth, family, and what really matters when life comes down to its final moments. This isn't just another inspirational tale. This is a raw, real-life human drama that proves our greatest legacies aren't written in wills, but in the hearts of the people we truly touch. Get ready to discover how one woman's dying request unleashed a 50-year-old secret that would reunite a broken family and prove that the most valuable inheritance isn't money, it's truth. By the end of this video, you'll never look at the working class the same way again, and you might just reconsider who you trust with your own most important life lessons. You know, sometimes the most profound connections in life happen between the most unlikely people. Think about it: a wealthy, elderly heiress and her immigrant housekeeper, two women from completely different worlds, yet bound by something deeper than money or social status. These are the kinds of relationships that create the most powerful emotional stories, the ones that remind us that love and loyalty transcend all boundaries and backgrounds. Meet Elena, a Guatemalan housekeeper in her 40s who'd worked for the formidable Mrs. Eleanor Vanderbilt for 15 years. Now, here's the thing about real-life bonds between domestic workers and their employers. They often become these beautiful, complicated tapestries woven with threads of mutual respect, unspoken understanding, and sometimes heartbreaking vulnerability. Their daily interactions created a storytelling masterpiece that nobody else witnessed. If you've ever formed an unexpected friendship with someone completely different from you, you know the magic I'm talking about. The key is to look beyond surfaces. The delivery person who always has a kind word, the elderly neighbor who grows amazing roses, the co-worker from a different generation. Start conversations, listen to their stories, and watch how your world expands. These connections often become our greatest teachers in life lessons. Over the years, Elena had become more than just staff. She was Eleanor's confidant, her memory keeper, the one who knew which teacup to use on gloomy days and which photograph needed extra dusting. She'd witnessed the gradual fading of a once powerful woman, and in that witnessing, had developed a fierce, protective love that went far beyond her job description. This quiet human drama was about to take a dramatic turn neither woman could have predicted. The diagnosis came like a thief in the night: pancreatic cancer, stage 4, 6 months at most. But Eleanor Vanderbilt wasn't one to go quietly. She summoned Elena to her lavish bedroom, the one with the view of the rose garden she could no longer tend, and made a request that would change both their lives forever. This is where our true story shifts from quiet companionship to high-stakes human drama with consequences that would ripple through generations. "Elena," she whispered, her voice thin but determined, "I'm leaving you one instruction. Just one." She pressed a sealed envelope into Elena's work-roughened hands. "Don't open this until after I'm gone. And whatever it says, you must promise to follow it exactly." Now, in most immigrant stories, when a wealthy employer makes such a request, it usually involves distributing wealth or delivering messages to estranged relatives. But this felt different, more personal, more urgent. Here's a practical truth about final requests and promises: they carry the weight of eternity. If someone has entrusted you with their dying wish, honor that sacred trust completely. But also understand that such trusts often come with emotional complexities. In your own life, if you've been given a responsibility like this, create a system, set calendar reminders, tell one trustworthy person, keep important documents secure. The integrity of your follow-through becomes part of your legacy. Elena took the envelope, her hands trembling not from the weight of the paper, but from the weight of the trust being placed in her. She looked into Eleanor's pale blue eyes, still sharp with intelligence despite the pain medication, and saw something she'd never seen before, fear mixed with desperate hope. What could possibly be in this envelope that mattered so much to a woman who had everything? The question would haunt Elena's every waking moment in the difficult weeks that followed. Eleanor passed away on a rainy Tuesday morning, holding Elena's hand while her biological family argued about inheritance in the hallway. The irony wasn't lost on Elena. The people who should have been mourning were already counting money, while the working-class employee was shedding genuine tears for the woman she'd served and loved. This stark contrast in real-life situations often reveals where true loyalty really lives, far from the glare of wealth and privilege. The reading of the will was, as expected, a circus of disappointed relatives and shocked lawyers. But the real bombshell came when the attorney announced that Elena had been left the one thing nobody expected: Eleanor's private journal collection, dating back 60 years. The family erupted in protest. Why would the housekeeper get such personal items when they, the blood relatives, received only money? This inspirational tale was taking unexpected turns. Now, here's an important life lesson about inheritance and legacies. The most valuable things we leave behind often aren't the expensive ones. Photographs, letters, recipes, journals. These contain the real treasure of a life lived. If you want to leave something meaningful, start documenting your stories now. Write down family recipes, record your grandparents' voices, keep a gratitude journal. These become priceless heirlooms that money can't buy. That night, alone in her modest apartment, Elena finally opened the envelope Eleanor had given her. The instruction inside was simple but baffling. Read Journal Volume 7, page 43. Then you'll understand what needs to be done. The mystery deepened, pulling Elena into a labyrinth of someone else's past, with no map and no idea what she was looking for. The weight of this responsibility felt both terrifying and strangely sacred. Journal Volume 7 contained Eleanor's life from 1978 to 1982, her late 20s. As Elena turned to page 43, her breath caught in her throat. There, in elegant script, was a story she never could have imagined. The story of Eleanor's secret daughter, given up for adoption when she was just 22. The child's name was Isabella, and Eleanor had spent 50 years searching for her in secret. This revelation transformed their emotional story into a quest of epic proportions. The page detailed how Eleanor's wealthy family had forced her to give up the baby, threatening to disown her if she kept the child. She'd complied, but the guilt and longing had haunted her every day since. Find her, the journal entry ended. Tell her I never stopped loving her. The proof is in the music box. This wasn't just a human drama anymore. It was a 50-year-old mystery with a living, breathing person at its center. If you discover family secrets or hidden histories, here's how to handle them with care. Move slowly, respect privacy, and consider involving professionals. Genealogists, therapists, or adoption specialists can provide guidance. For Elena, this meant she needed to find Isabella, but also prepare her for potentially life-altering news. Some truths, while beautiful, can also be overwhelming when delivered suddenly. Elena found the music box exactly where the journal described, hidden behind a loose brick in the library fireplace. When she opened it, a tinkling version of Edelweiss played, and inside, wrapped in tissue paper, was a black and white photo of a beautiful young Eleanor holding a newborn baby, and a lock of pale blonde hair tied with a faded ribbon. The evidence was overwhelming, and the responsibility now felt immense. Finding Isabella with only a first name and a 50-year-old photo seemed impossible, but Elena approached it with the same methodical care she applied to everything. She started with adoption records, hitting wall after wall due to privacy laws. Then she tried DNA databases, social media searches, and even hired a private investigator with her own savings. This working-class woman was spending her hard-earned money to fulfill a rich woman's dying wish. Now that's what I call inspirational commitment. What's fascinating about quests like these is how they transform the seeker. Elena, who had always seen herself as just a housekeeper, discovered inner resources of determination and cleverness she never knew she possessed. She learned to navigate complex databases, decode legal documents, and track down leads across state lines. This true story was becoming as much about Elena's awakening as it was about finding Isabella. Here's a practical approach you can use for any seemingly impossible search. Break it into tiny, manageable steps. Instead of find Isabella, Elena's steps were research 1970s adoption laws, join adoption reunion forums, learn how DNA matching works. When you face a massive goal, whether it's finding someone or starting a business, chunk it down until the first step feels doable. Progress, not perfection, becomes your fuel. After 3 months of dead ends, the breakthrough came from the unlikeliest place, a comment on a vintage photography forum. Someone recognized the distinctive pattern of Eleanor's childhood home in the background of the photo Elena had posted. That clue led to a small town in Oregon, and eventually to a woman named Isabella Rodriguez, a kindergarten teacher with Eleanor's exact blue eyes and a kind, curious nature. The moment Elena stood on Isabella's porch, holding the music box and photo, she understood the full weight of Eleanor's final instruction. This wasn't about delivering a message. It was about healing a wound that had festered for half a century. When Isabella opened the door, her eyes immediately went to the photo in Elena's hand, and she whispered, "I think I've been waiting for you." This powerful conclusion to their storytelling journey proved that some connections transcend time and circumstance. What happened next was more beautiful than any emotional story could adequately capture. Isabella had known she was adopted, but had never searched for her birth mother, fearing rejection. The journals, the photos, the music box, they provided the closure and love she didn't know she needed. And Elena, the faithful domestic worker, became the bridge between a mother and daughter separated by time, society, and tragic circumstances. The final life lesson here is profound. We never know how our simple acts of loyalty might heal generational wounds. Your commitment to showing up, to keeping promises, to going the extra mile, these aren't just job responsibilities. They're potential healing moments in someone else's human drama. Elena thought she was just cleaning houses, but she was actually preparing to perform a miracle. The Vanderbilt family never understood why Eleanor left her journals to the help, but Elena and Isabella knew. It was because Eleanor understood that true loyalty isn't bought with paychecks or inherited through bloodlines. It's earned through 15 years of showing up, of remembering which teacup to use, of holding a hand during the final journey home. And that, my friends, is the most inspirational part of this entire true story. So let me ask you directly, who have you been underestimating in your life? What, Elena, figure have you been overlooking because of their job, their background, or their social status? And more importantly, are you being the kind of person someone would trust with their most sacred, dying wish? These questions matter more than you might realize, because legacy isn't about what you leave behind, but who you've touched along the way. I want you to take a mental inventory of your relationships today. Where can you be more present, more trustworthy, more observant of the quiet heroes in your life? Tell me in the comments. Who is one unsung hero in your world that others might overlook? And what have they taught you about loyalty? Remember this powerful truth. The world is full of Eleanors waiting to be understood and Isabella's waiting to be found. Your simple act of loyalty today could be the bridge that heals a wound that's been bleeding for decades. Start noticing, start listening, start being the kind of person who keeps promises even when it's difficult. That's how ordinary people create extraordinary storytelling moments. If this message resonated with you, if it made you look at the people in your life with new eyes and appreciation, then do something about it right now. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because we share real, powerful stories like this every week. We're building a community of people who believe that everyone has a story worth hearing, especially the quiet ones. Your next dose of human connection is just one click away.